Hi guys, it's Rae with Raes Turquoise Turtle. If you're coming back to my channel, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button and giving me a like, I would very much appreciate it. So today I am starting on this 20-ounce skinny from Makerflow, a Northern Lights tumbler that's going to be a little bit different. I don't think I've shared a Northern Lights tumbler at all yet. But what I'm going to do is put a thin coat of KS Resin Liquidy Split on here, and I'm going to let it get mostly tacky. I could probably do this with one of my tacky sprays, but I'm going to try it with the epoxy. So I'm going to let it get to tacky, and I'm going to take like a stiff brush and some mica powders and brush the color on as I like it. So it's not going to be like full coverage, bam, in your face. I am not going to do my stencils yet. I am going to actually do my tree line in reverse. I'm going to do my Northern Lights part first, and then I'm going to epoxy the whole thing. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my stencils on as a mask and respray paint the bottom and then epoxy again. Because when I do that, I can do my final decal at the same time. So I'm just going to get a super thin coat of epoxy on this whole thing. And this epoxy is already getting hot. I can tell because it ripped my glove immediately. So I'm going to grab another glove. It is pretty warm and humid, so the epoxy is setting very, very quickly, so I probably won't even have to let this sit for terribly long. And it's going to be a super, super thin coat anyways. Hopefully I can get this all on before it gets chunked up. So I'm just dipping my finger in to get a little bit more, just because I'm not going to be able to spread it as much as I'd like. So, again, it's going to be a little bit different of a take on a Northern Lights, but this was just sanded to prep and then spray painted with a flat black to begin with. So that's where it is currently. All right, so I'm going to put this on a turner and let it spin for a little bit, and I will be ready. And probably, because this is already so hot, I'm probably going to go ahead and go in about 45 minutes with some brushes and my micas. So I will be back then. Okay, so I am back. I have my micas pulled. I have some brushes to apply them. I'm just going to use Dollar Tree brushes because they're probably going to go in the trash. I don't think they'll be salvageable when I'm done. This was a 3-pack. These are really stiff. And this is a stencil brush. Hopefully it doesn't leave any ends behind. I have 4 micas pulled. These are all from one of those like boxes of 50 from Amazon. I have violet, forget-me-not, teal, and kiwi. I have a little puddle of each over here. So my tree line is going to be somewhere down here. So I'm going to go past that with these. But that way it'll blend in. But I'm going to kind of just scratch them into the surface a bit randomly. I should have moved a paper underneath here, and I did not. And it's okay if a little bit of black shows through. Actually, that stencil brush worked really well. might have been able to just use one brush all the way through for this entire project. I might have just been able to pick up color to color to color. I may switch back to the stencil brush for the purple and just do that the rest of the way. Since this brush does seem to work the best. I'm going to come back around and load in some more of the green. And some more of the teal. And I'm just bringing my cup back and forth some as I go. And I did lose one little fiber from the brush there, so I will make sure I get that pulled back out. And bring some of that green down here as well. Come over with purple and run that most of the way to the top. I forgot to torch this after I applied the resin, and then I didn't actually turn the turner on, so it just sat there. So my resin did get a little bumpy. I guess would be the word I'm looking for. I'm just going to continue picking up color and dragging it through until I am satisfied with where I'm at. Again, my tree line's going to play in here somewhere. But first I'm going to come over the whole thing with some I may run a little black mica. I haven't decided yet, but I am going to come over it with, I don't know that I have any stars themselves yet left, but I'm going to come over it with some kind of a glitter. I'm going to finish filling in, and then I may drag one of these stiffer brushes over to pull some color back out to the black. So, I'm going to grab one of these stiffer brushes that I already used. And see if I can't, first of all, pick up any strays like that. Stray bristles. But I'm going to see if I can drag some of the black back out. That way I don't have to come back over it with the black mica. Because I do want some of that sky showing through. And this is extremely tacky. And it's just raking it back out. This is one of those techniques that I know is out there. I've not done it. I've not actually seen it done. So I have no idea if I'm doing it even remotely right. Probably not. I'll be doing it my way. Alright. I'm just going to go back over it with my color brush. Because I don't like how deep I got in a couple of spots. Alright, so I'm going to decide what I want to use for my stars. And I've now untwisted my cup all the way off of my turner. I'm going to decide what I want to use for my stars. And I'm going to come back in and get that flood coat on. But it's a much subtler Northern Lights look than you get when you do like the full heavy Northern Lights, which is kind of what I was looking for in this technique by doing it this way. I mean, you can see how tacky this is. You saw how tacky it went on in the first place, so this is part of why I wanted to mask off and repaint the bottom after it was smooth, versus doing it the other way where you mask first and do the Northern Lights over. And I do have another bristle there I want to pick out. So I'm going to get that with my tweezers here. And I can't tell if that's one or not. Yep. So I might find a different kind of brush to use next time. But the problem with using a good brush is you're basically throwing it away. So why waste a good brush? Alright, so I'm going to figure out what I'm putting on here, and I will be back. Okay, I am ready to get a layer of epoxy on here. I'm going to turn on my turner. Okay, so I have some resin mixed up, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of glitter in it. Not much. I'm just going to use this chunkier white iridescent. This is just a cheap glitter. I think it came from Walmart. But I'm just going to put a couple little flakes of that in there. Like barely a skim across the top of the thing. And I'm going to put a little bit of my Girl's Best Friend Cheat, my favorite, in here. Just a tiny sprinkle of that as well. So, I'm going to mix them in. And then I'm going to get this on here. Just for a little sparkle. I don't want it like crazy. So, but I want a little something blingy on here. And I'm hoping that this will fill in some of these brush strokes. And I only mixed up 15 mLs here. I didn't need a thick coat for this part. So, It'll be enough to cover. Don't forget the bottom. And I'm just gonna smooth it out. Smooth it out, make sure you don't miss anything. And I think I'm going to see more of these strokes than I really wanted to, but I think it'll be alright in the long run. So I'm just going to double check that the rim is coated. Alright. I couldn't find the glitter I have that's actually stars, so I'm just going to leave it at this for the sparkle. I was hoping to find them just to like sprinkle a couple along, but I couldn't. So I'm going to let this dry, and while I do that, I'm going to get my decals cut for the bottom and get my quote decal cut, because that can go on basically in the same layer. So I'm just hitting it quick with the torch to pop any bubbles. And that's that for now. I will be back. Okay, so I am back to this tumbler. I decided I wanted to try and add a little bit of glow. So this is some glow powder. I think this one's a darkish blue, but who knows. I'm hoping that it's not enough to change the color of the resin too much. That hopefully you'll be able to see this through. I'm also going to add some more of the glitter, just the chunkier one that I used the first time around. So, and I'm going to get this layer on because this is already starting to set up. So I'm going to get moving. I don't think I'll get a tremendous amount of glow because I didn't use a lot, because I didn't want to change the overall color of the cup. So, I decided I wanted to try, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. This could have been a bad idea. Or it won't really be noticeable at all. Either way, that's where I'm at. So I'm just going to get that spread on evenly. And I just used the end of the popsicle stick and put like 3 little scoops that covered the end in there for the glow. That was it. And I'm probably going to need one more clear coat now that I did that. Just because it's going to feel a little bit gritty again, potentially, between the glitter and the powder. So I'll have to wait until it dries to see how it feels, to see if I can go on to the decal step or not. I almost could have added the glow. I could have found like a colored glow powder, or colored it with mica and done it more of a milky way, which might have been the better option, but too late now. So that is that. I will be back. Also, I found some teeny tiny stars in silver. So I'm just going to try and shake a few into the lid. I only want a couple. So I'm just going to try and, like, basically shake them out one at a time. I don't want a ton on here, and hopefully they will lay down. Because I have the saying already picked for this one, and it has stars in the saying, so I kind of wanted the little stars. Hopefully they'll lay down on their own. I don't really want to have to manipulate them too much. But if I see any that really want to stand up, I'll just come in and tap them down. I'm kind of watching them come up the side and go down this side to see which ones might need help. Okay, and I'm just going to hit it quick with the torch again, just to smooth out around the stars anywhere I may have touched. So, there you go. I will be back when I'm ready to do the decal for the tree line. Okay, so here's where this one is at. I put a decal on it that says, "Stars cannot shine without the darkness," or just without darkness, excuse me. And I'm going to put a stencil on here, actually a mask, not a stencil, for my tree line. So, and I don't want to cover my decal. My text decal, I mean. And I'm going to wrap this with saran wrap anyways, above the decal. So I'm just going to place that on there to protect that and to create a seam. This doesn't have to be perfect because this is going to come back off. And hopefully it will be wide enough to meet. Pretty close. So, and I certainly have stuck to my transfer tape. I'm gonna have to fix that corner real quick. But anyways, I'm going to fix that in a second. I have the saran wrap under the trees. But I'm going to go out and spray paint the bottom of this black. I'm not going to take you with me to do that because I've got rain off and on and I need to catch a real quick non-rainy part of the day. But I'm just going to make sure I have a good bond everywhere. Just need to pull that plastic wrap up. There. Plastic wrap is just to make sure I don't get any spray where I don't want it on the cup. I'm going to tape off this little bit of a seam. Small piece of tape on that last little bit. So the rest of my cup will be protected from the paint or any overspray by the plastic wrap and the vinyl. And I'm going to go get a couple coats of black on here, and I will be back. Okay, so this is painted now and are ready to be unwrapped. I'm just going to roughly pull the top to start and then work on any little pieces. Be careful when you're doing this so you don't scratch things up. I'm going to use my pin pen because I do have some of these little tiny pieces. And I really don't want to scratch the paint itself. That fly, it's still in this room and it's driving me crazy. So I know this part is boring. But you can definitely see where the little pieces are under the spray paint. Hopefully you can see this well enough. My camera's set up at a very awkward angle when I work on this side of the room. I'm just trying to be super careful to not scratch, because touching up the paint at this point would be unpleasant. So I think I've been all the way around now, but there's my tree line now. Trees and mountains anyways. So I'm going to get a coat of epoxy on her and see how she looks. I'm going to try another similar style, but I'm not going to brush onto the resin on the next one. I'm going to paint it black, use my vinyl as a mask at the bottom next time, and then I'm going to tack it and brush onto the tack it and see the difference, because I think that's actually going to work better. I'm not going to get these weird spots, but I still think overall it's a beautiful cup. I'm not going to strip it and start over on this one. I'll just do a separate one. So that'll be coming probably in the next week or so after this one. I do have some other things to finish up and lined up before I get to that. But I'll bring you back over to show you with the resin on it once it's all shined up again. Okay, I am just ready to get a coat of epoxy on this. So I'm just going to jump right in. Nothing fancy, it's just a clear coat. And if it doesn't need it, I may just do one more super thin coat just to protect this paint at the bottom, but I don't want to do more than one more thin coat after this one, because it's already got, well, yeah, it's got I think 3 on it already, so this makes 4. So one more would be 5, which is kind of pushing it in my book. But if it's necessary, and I think it might be just to protect the paint, although this is a fairly heavy coat, I will probably go ahead and do that one thin coat. Just as a measure of protection. Because your epoxy does wear down over time as your cups get put in and out of cup holders. I mean, my personal cup that I use the most definitely has signs of age and wear on the bottom. So you do want to have enough coats to get some longevity and life out of the cup. Alright, so I'm going to bring you down and show you this, because I think this is as far as we're going to go with this one. I'm just going to finish that. I'm going to get my glove off, and I'm going to torch it real quick because I don't want bubbles showing over the black, especially. I mean, honestly, a bubble at the top with the glitter and the stars is going to blend in at this point. But over the black, it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. And I do have a couple random stray glitters over the black. I'm not worried about it. This is a sparkly tumbler anyways, so. Alright, that's good enough. I'm going to pop you off of here. I always get my finger in the way when I do that. Stars cannot shine without darkness. And there's that nice crisp black line we did today. It's so glossy. My phone's having a very hard time focusing on it. So, like I said, it does have some flaws and blemishes. We're going to try a different way. But in some ways, I think it almost makes it slightly more realistic. But overall, I am actually super happy with this one. So, there you go. Once more around. Sorry about the ring light walking across the top there.